this time, 95, right? Almost 95, 94. Because he was born in September, 5th of September, 1931. So he is almost 95. Yeah. And I was with him quite long time. Yeah, quite long. I was in his institute for 10 years. Yeah, in his institute alone. Okay, in his from there. Yeah. In his institute alone for 10 years. Is it echoing? Yeah, probably you can mute the speaker from here. I think the sounds come from here, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now it's fine. So this the worldview of Islam has been reintroduced by Professor Syed Muhammad Naqib Alatas to denote something permanent, something final, something ultimate in Islam itself. Yeah, it is like Aqidah actually, but very sophisticated Aqidah. Yeah, in the sense that this is Aqidah or this is Iman, which deals with contemporary life. Yeah. And if we want to translate the words, the worldview of Islam into Arabic, yeah, according to him, it means ru'yatul Islam lil wujud. Yeah, ru'yah mean view. Ru'yatul Islam is the view of Islam, or yeah, lil wujud. Yeah. Of course, wujud normally we translate as existent, right? But wujud can also be termed as al-haq. Yeah. There is another existent means, yeah, al-haq. It can be al-haq, it can be existent, it can be reality actually. Yeah. So that's why he said that the world of Islam is basically the vision of Islamic on existence, reality, and truth. Of course, normally we translate the word existent as wujud, yeah, and then realities as haqiqah, al-haqiqah or al-haqa'iq, and truth is al-haq. All right. So this is basically the words. How do we perceive the reality? Do you think the reality is only this thing that we can see, okay, through our physical eye here? Is it the reality? Is the reality only something that we can touch, we can smell, we can see, we can hear? Is that the only reality? No. No. From the Islamic worldview or the worldview of Islam, yeah, there are realities, there are degrees of realities, there are degrees of existence. Yeah. And in fact, the highest existence is God himself. God is the real existence. And the world is not real. Although we say that existence is referring to the world, right? Yeah, but from our point of view, yeah, from our worldview, yeah, this world is just one aspect of the existence. Yeah, so that's why when we talk about the worldview of Islam, we are talking about something fundamental. All right. Now, this is the person. Yeah, Professor Syed Muhammad Naqib Alatas. Yeah. So I was with him in his institute, yeah, which is called International Institute for Islamic Thought and Civilization, yeah, ISTEC, for 10 years, yeah, from 1993 up to 2003, yeah, as a PhD student at the time, yeah. And then I used to teach also in his institute, before joining Faculty of Economics, in the International Islamic University, and so on and so forth. All right, so this is the person. As I told you that he is 94 now, but lately he is not in a good health actually. He is because of the age. Let's recite Al-Fatihah for him, so that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will give him strength, so that we can still benefit from his knowledge. Ala hadhihi niyyah wa likulli niyatin salihah. Al-Fatihah. Okay, now this is basically the dimension of the worldview. If the value of Islam is in the middle, these are the aspect, or the dimension. In the value of Islam, we'll be talking about philosophical issues. We'll be talking about ontology. We'll be talking about epistemology. We'll be talking about psychology. We'll be talking about cosmology. We'll be talking about theology. And we'll be talking about the teleology also. These are basically the thing discussed in the value of Islam. Actually, the value of Islam is very simple. This is our plain aqidah. But this aqidah, as I told you, this is not a simple aqidah, but the aqidah which has been discussed through this aspect, through the aspect of ontology, through the aspect of epistemology, through the aspect of cosmology, through the aspect of theology, psychology, and teleology. This is something that we know already at the basic level. Sometimes we call it al-ma'lum min ad-din bi-darurah. You see, in our religion we have something what we call al-ma'lumu min ad-din bi-darurah. Something to be known as part of Islam, by necessity. By necessity, we know that this is Islam. For example, when you say, what is the name of our God? If I ask you, what is the name of your God? Allah. Everybody, every Muslim know, right? What is the name of the last prophet?
Muhammad.
See, what is the name of your religion?
Islam.
See, this is basically al-ma'lum min ad-din bi-darurah. But the problem is, the problem, not the problem actually, the issue is this basic meaning has been confused. In the middle of our discourse, this has been confused, by our dominant civilizations nowadays. So that's why we have to rediscuss this thing in a very sophisticated manner. For example, when we talk about the ontology, what is ontology? Ontology is a branch of philosophy which talk about existence. Existence, it looks like very simple, right? But my friend doing PhD on existence for 7 years. It's not a simple thing. So basically, God is the real existence. But from our modern civilization, God does not exist. You see? We see that God is the real existence. In fact, God is the only existence. But according to modern philosophy, God does not exist. You see? How can you say God does not exist? And then we say that God is the very existence itself. So this is basically worldview. It depends on your worldview. It depends on your view. How do you view God? How do you understand God? And how does the Western civilization understand God, for example? And they claim that God does not exist. So this is the challenge, right? Because in the Western civilization, you say that God does not exist, especially through atheism, for example. But we say that God is the only existence. The wujud. Our world is created existence. Our world is called the dependent existence. God is independent existence. God is the real existence. Yeah. That's why we have the word mawjud. Mawjud means created existence. Yeah. Made existence. Existence which is made. But God, He is the source of every existence. So this is what we call the ontology. Yeah. So our akidah can be discussed philosophically through the ontology, through the issue or through the discussion or through the concept of existence. Okay. So this is worldview. Right? It's the worldview of Islam. By the way, we prefer to say worldview of Islam rather than Islamic worldview. Yeah, like in the class, we say that we have, this morning I taught a course, this called financial economics, right? So we have financial economics, we have behavioral economics, okay? We have environmental economics, we have monetary economics, and we have Islamic economics, right? So when we say Islamic economics, as if Islam is part of the economics, right? It's like behavioral economics, like financial economics, okay? Like monetary economics, and then Islamic economics. So that's why, although we say Islamic economics, but we mean is the economics of Islam. Because when we say Islamic economics, the economic is the bigger part. Islam is only a small part, right? But when we say the economics of Islam, you can see the difference. Economics of Islam. So it means that Islam is the bigger part. Economy is only a small part of it. Similarly, when we say Islamic worldview and the worldview of Islam. So which one is bigger? Worldview of Islam or you see, worldview of Islam. Islam is the bigger. You see, even utilization of the term is very important because it will influence our thinking. So we discuss ontology. We discuss epistemology. What is epistemology? Epistemology is again a branch of philosophy whose subject matter is knowledge. Normally in sciences, we have the subject matter, right? Biology, for example, what is the subject matter? Bios, living being. Yeah? So biology is basically a science which deals with a living being. This is biology. What about geology? Not geography. Yeah, geology. Yeah, geo is our globe. Yeah, our Earth. Geology. This is the science. Yeah, which studies the Earth. Okay, geology. You have technology. What is technology? Technique, right? Yeah, this is the science which deal with the technique, engineering. Yeah, and now we have epistemology. Now, episteme is knowledge. So epistemology is knowledge about knowledge. Yeah, knowledge about knowledge. It means that epistemology is the conception of knowledge. How does Islam perceive knowledge? Now, this is again another big issue. Yeah. Do you think knowledge is something which can understand from this phenomena only? Yeah. Do you think knowledge is something that we can perceive through our five senses only? Do you think knowledge, yeah, is only something that we can think of rationally? Now, in the epistemology, we will be talking about the channels of knowledge, the sources of knowledge. We have, for example, yeah, five senses, empirical knowledge. Then we have rational knowledge, but we have also what we call the true reports, the wahi. You see, you have a different dimension of knowledge. So under the worldview, we'll be talking about knowledge. We'll be talking about epistemology. Then we'll be talking about cosmology. Of course, cosmology is from the word cosmos, cosmic. But normally in cosmology, we are talking about the structure of the world. Of course, by the world, we mean the structure of the universe. Yeah, the structure of the existence. More than that, the structure of the existence. The degrees of the existence. Yeah. By the way, I forgot. Yeah. So the source of the discussion is this. This book is called Prolegomena to the Metaphysics of Islam. Now, this is a book of Professor Alatas. Yeah. Prolegomena to the Metaphysics of Islam, an exposition of the fundamental elements of the worldview of Islam. So if you want to know in detail, yeah, you should read this. But this book is not an easy reading. Yeah, we discussed this for years. Years, yeah, literally. Yeah. You need to discuss this, yeah, years. Yeah, because it contains a lot of very important concepts. And you need a guidance. Yeah? You cannot read, yeah, on your own. I guarantee you, you will not understand. Yeah, even if your English is good. Yeah, but through the guidance, okay, through the guidance, you will get a lot of benefits. Yeah, so this is the book. Yeah, and it is available here in Indonesia. Yeah, we have a bookshop. Yeah, called Lubukata. Yeah, so if you want to buy a very serious book, yeah, we have a very dedicated bookshop in Jakarta, in Pasar Minggu. It is called Lubukata. Yeah, yeah, you can Google it. Yeah, no problem. And the representative is here. Yeah. Anyway, cosmology, and then theology. Theology, the word theos. Theos means God. Yeah, this is related to something about God. Yeah, so under the Islamic, under the worldview of Islam, we'll be talking about God. Yeah, we'll be talking about nature. We're talking about universe. We'll be talking about God. We'll be talking about knowledge. We'll be talking about the psychology of human soul. Yeah, we'll be talking about ourself, our nafs. We'll be talking about insan. Who are we? Are we Homo sapiens? Are we machine? Is our ruh like battery? Like electric? Are we consider ourselves as just a robot? This is understanding of ourselves. Yeah. Sometimes we don't understand ourselves. Yeah. Sometimes we don't understand, and we misperceive ourselves. We do not know ourselves. That's why our scholars last time used to say, "Man arafa nafsahu arafa rabbah." Those who recognize and know himself, he will know his Lord. But unfortunately, we don't know ourselves. and we don't know God, yeah, ultimately. Anyway, so part of the discussion of the worldview Islam is basically the psychology. Psychology doesn't mean only behavioralism, yeah, like discussed in the modern psychology, yeah, but we are talking about the ruh itself, yeah, because we are a spiritual being, yeah, we are also spiritual beings. So we'll be talking about psychology. We'll be talking about teleology. What is tele? Teleo, from the word tele. Telos. Yeah. What does telos mean? You have televisions. Televisions. You have telephone. You have teleconference. What is tele? Yeah. Tele means far. Televisions, you can see from afar. Telegraph, you can write, yeah, from afar. Teleconference, you can make a conference from afar. Teleology is basically the knowledge about something very far, very far, very far. Something related to our purpose, our ultimate purpose. Are we created with purpose or not without, or without purpose? You see, this is a worldview. Are we created with purpose or without purpose? Purpose. How do you know? How do you know your purpose of life? Is it through science? Can science tell you the purpose of our life? Which science? Can physics tell us the purpose of our life? Can chemistry tell us the purpose of our life? Can biology tell us the purpose of our life? Can economics, your subject, okay, tell us the purpose of our life? So this is part of the what we call the worldview. Yeah. Anyway, now there are two significant aspects of the worldview of Islam. Yeah. The first one is what we call the fundamental elements of the worldview of Islam. The fundamental elements. Elements which are very important, very basic, that we need to rediscuss. There are 9 fundamental elements. Yeah, there are 9 fundamental elements. Number 1, yeah, the nature of God, the nature of revelations, the nature of creations, the nature of man, the nature of knowledge, the nature of religion, the nature of freedom, the nature of values and virtues, and the nature of happiness. We have to understand again the meanings of all this. Yeah, we have to rediscuss, okay, this thing. Yeah, thoroughly. We have to rediscuss thoroughly. Yeah, you know, when the Prophet ﷺ was sent as a prophet, he was how many years in Makkah? Yeah, 13 years in Makkah. 13 years in Makkah. There was no prayer, there was no fasting, there was no Sharia yet. What did they discuss for 13 years? Do you think they are discussing very simple things? No. They are discussing very serious things. They are discussing about the worldview. They are discussing about the ontology, epistemology, psychology. This is actually the discussion. If we want to use, okay, the modern term, okay, the philosophical term, they are discussing, okay, this thing. Yeah, by the Prophet ﷺ. This is what we call aqidah. Of course, nowadays we say aqidah, right? But when we say aqidah, yeah, we take it lightly. But when we say worldview of Islam, this is something serious. But this is actually aqidah. Yeah, but discussed in very deep, yeah, with the context of our civilizations. Yeah, with the context of our civilizations. All right, so the first aspect of the worldview of Islam is what we call the fundamental elements of the worldview of Islam. This is actually, I will brief, okay, this thing, yeah, a little bit. All these 9 aspects, 9 fundamental. And then the second one is what we call the metaphysics of Islam. Now, this one needs time, you know, to understand the metaphysics. What is existence? What is essence? Okay, we need time, yeah, because we know that our world consists of physics and metaphysics. Yeah, metaphysics is bigger than physics. Yeah, metaphysics is much bigger than physics. This physics is very small. It's like tips on the iceberg. Yeah. Beyond that, there is a metaphysics. But we do not discuss again this aspect. This metaphysics has not been discussed again. Why? Because they don't believe with the existence of metaphysics, especially science, especially the modern science. Why? Because they are relying only on empirical sources and rational sources. We have intuitions, okay, we have true reports. Yeah, we have other sources of knowledge. Yeah, do you think prophets are very simple? The most intelligent people, yeah, in the world. More intelligent than philosophers. More intelligent, okay, than scientists. Prophets are the creator of the civilization in the world. Yeah? They are actually our leaders in life. The prophets. Yeah? And the last prophet, Muhammad SAW, is the perfect human being. That's why he creates civilizations. He creates people. So if we want to revive our Islamic civilization, we must go back, okay, to that. Otherwise, we'll be, yeah, walking or running around the bush, yeah, they say. Yeah. This is basically the problem of, yeah, of the world, yeah, nowadays. Yeah. So these are the 2 aspects of what we call the worldview of Islam, yeah, fundamental elements and also the metaphysical, yeah, metaphysics of Islam. Yeah, in the metaphysics you talk about the existence, quiddity, essence. Yeah. All right. And then the metaphysics of Islam is basically a synthesis of the ideas upheld by Muslim theologians, mutakallimun, Muslim philosophers, yeah, the hukama, and also the Sufis, yeah, the ahlu tasawuf, yeah, because tasawuf is the highest knowledge in Islam. Yeah, tasawuf is the highest knowledge in Islam. Yeah, but nowadays we disregard, okay, this tasawuf, right? It's like nothing. This is again our problem. Yeah, our modern problem. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Now, what is not worldview? Sometimes we consider this as worldview. We have sometimes many terms. For example, like social philosophy, for example. So, worldview is not formed merely by gathering together various cultural objects, values, phenomena into artificial coherence. This is not worldview. Worldview is not paradigm either. You see, in science, we have the term paradigm. But worldview is not paradigm. Because paradigm is shifting. Yeah. Who is introducing the word paradigm? Thomas S. Kuhn, right? Yeah. In his book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. Yeah, he is introducing, okay, this word paradigm. Yeah. But paradigm is shifting. That's why you have paradigm shift. Ya, anjakan paradigma. Ya, perubahan paradigma in bahasa Indonesia. And the worldview is not also an ideology. No, worldview is not an ideology. like Marxism, for example, communism, capitalism, no. Yeah, worldview of Islam is something. Yeah, worldview of Islam is something. Yeah, authentic, final, ultimate, total, permanent, unchanging. Okay, it is like Siratal Mustaqim. Yeah, it is like the word Siratal Mustaqim. You know, do you think Siratal Mustaqim is changing? Siratal Mustaqim does not change. The same, okay, from the first prophet until the last prophet, Siratal Mustaqim is the same. Siratal Mustaqim is the upright, the correct thinking, correct way of thinking. This is Siratal Mustaqim. This is actually what we are asking God 17 times at least a day. Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim. Yeah, so that our mind is guided. Yeah, our thinking is guided. Anyway, so this is the nature of what we call the will of Islam. Yeah, it is authentic from Islam, final, ultimate, total perspective, yeah, permanently established and unchanging. Unchanging. It will not be changed. It can be refined, yeah, in the sense that it has deeper meaning, yes, but not changing. Can be deeper in the meaning. We call it the intensification of meaning. All right, now I think we don't have time, okay, to discuss about the metaphysics. Let's discuss only fundamental elements, the 9 fundamental elements. The nature of God, the nature of revelation, the nature of creation, the nature of man, and the psychology of human soul, nature of knowledge, nature of religion, nature of freedom. I hope in 1 hour we can discuss this, because we want to stop at 6 o'clock, so that you can have a time, okay, to rush to the mosque to break the fasting. Okay, now the first thing is the nature of God. In the worldview of Islam. The first one, to us, God exists, right? This is the most important part. That's why if you learn, for example, sifat 20 sifat. What is the first sifat? Wujud. Allah is wujud, right? How you describe the wujud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Okay. Is the wujud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the same as like the wujud of alam? The wujud of this universe, this world? Now, then how different the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and this world? This is discussed in ontology. So that's why in philosophy we have what we call necessary existence and contingent existence. This is the term. Necessary existence and contingent existence. Necessary existence it means that it always exists without non-existent, and will not end with the non-existent. He always exists from the very beginning. Okay, so that's why after wujud, qidam, baqa, mukhalafatul hawadith, qiyamuhu binafsi, wahdaniyah. Okay, so it means that the wujud Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is qidam. The wujud Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is eternal. What was the wujud of alam? Is it eternal? No. Wujud, qidam, baqa. What is baqa? Baqa is eternal, right? Qidam is how do you translate qidam? Mas Yogi, what is the translation of qidam? Yeah, there is no start. Wal awal, in fact. Yeah, pre-eternal. Yeah. Pre-eternal. And then Baqo is eternal. Yeah. And then Mukhalafatul Hawadith. His existence is different, okay, from the world. How do you? So that's why we call it, he is the necessary existence, right? Wajibul wujud. This is the term. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wajibul wujud. Necessary existence. And in fact, he is the existent. The existent. What about this world? This world exists, of course, but this world, the existence of this world is created, contingent, dependent on God. Yeah, because this world is created. Okay? This world is created. Okay? This world is like, this world is the ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sign of God. Anyway, so God exists. And his existence is real. He is the reality of existence. Yeah. And he is one. And he has name. Now let's compare with other religion. Let's take Christianity, for example. We have a Christian friend here, as Mario. Yeah. In Christianity, you don't have the name for God, right? Is it right? Yeah, Mario? We don't have name. You simply say Lord, or you simply say God, right? But there is no name. But under the Islamic worldview, with the Aqidah, with our Aqidah, we have, our God has name. This is again another difference, okay, between our worldview of God and other religions. So we must make a comparative religion also to a certain extent. Okay. Our God has name. And his name is not only one. He has 99 names, right? What we call Al-Asma Al-Husna. And in fact, more than that. Under Asma Al-Husna, you don't have a name of Al-Musa'ir. You know Al-Musa'ir, economists must know, okay, this name. Al-Musa'ir is a price fixer. Allah is the one who determine the price, actually. Yeah? It's not supply and demand. But we can explain supply and demand. Don't worry. Yeah. We have deeper explanation than merely supply and demand. Yeah, but it does not negate supply and demand. Yeah, but we have a deeper explanation than. Okay, one of the name of Subhanahu Al-Musahir. You know, one day pricing about Prophet Salam is like inflation. And then people are complaining, oh Prophet, why don't you fix the price? Ya Rasulullah, Allah tusahir lana. Yeah, why don't you fix the price? Yeah, so that the price will not go up. But what is the response of Prophet? No, I will not fix the price. Why? Because God is the price fixer. He is Al-Musa'ir. Adam Smith call it invisible. Yes, of course, God is invisible. It's very close, actually. Very close. Anyway, to us, God exists. Yeah, and He is one. And He has many names. Yeah, and He is creating, okay, this world every time. Why? Because this world, according to our metaphysics, this world, the world that we can perceive now, is always created, annihilated, and recreated. This world, this very world that we experience is created from nothing. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will annihilate, okay, this world. And then Allah subhanahu will recreate continuously like this. We see from our perception as if this world is on always. No. Yeah, the reality of this world is on off. On off, on off, on off. Every time. Every second. Yeah. Even our scholar would say that La yabqa zamanaini. They will not endure 2 units of time. So it means that our world is always exists, does not exist, re-existed. This is the worldview of Muslim. That's why we say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this world does not have its own energy, its own power. No, this world is powerless. But science tells us, well, okay, this world has its own power, right? This world runs by itself. This world is qiyamuhu bi nafsihi. This is the problem. So we have God. We have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, in fact, this is the most important aspect of the worldview is about God. We have to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. Because the knowledge or the ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the highest knowledge. And we know God already, not here. We know God already when we were still in the spiritual realm. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us, Alastu bi rabbikum? Am I not your Lord? And then we say, Bala shahidna. Yes, we testify that you are Lord. You remember this oath? Please remember. Don't go out of this world, okay, without getting back, okay, this oath. We are making oath with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to ask us in that moment. Yeah, Alastu bi rabbikum, and we say Bala shahidna. So we know God already. We understand God already. Yeah, this is what we call the ma'rifah. So we don't agree with the tabula rasa theory. Yeah, we don't agree with the tabula rasa. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Wallahu akhrajakum min butuni ummahatikum la ta'lamuna syai'an. Wa ja'ala lakumus sam'a wal absara wal afida la'allakum tashkurun. Allah has brought up you from the womb of your mother, la ta'lamuna syai'an, without knowing anything. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created wa ja'ala lakumus sam'a, the hearing, wal absara, the sight, wal afida, and the what you call it, the heart, la'allakum tashkurun, so that you will be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there is knowledge, there is ilm, there is the knowledge which we derive from this world. Remember, knowledge is not only derived from this world. Knowledge is not only derived from the physics, but we have also knowledge from the metaphysics. There is ma'rifah. Not science. Anyway, so we know God already. So in order to know back God, you have to know yourself. That's why man arafa nafsahu arafa rabbahu. Those who know himself, he will know again God like we know before. No problem if you don't understand now. It takes time to ponder. No problem. So one of the fundamental elements of the Islam is about God, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ma'rifatullah. And it will not be exhausted actually to think or to ponder about, to remember God, to dhikr. Of course, in Islam we call it the dhikr. Dhikr is not only by saying, but by contemplations, contemplating God. It will not exhaust your life. And in fact, by remembering God, we are alive. If you don't remember God, you are dead. You are dead. That's why Prophet ﷺ used to say, مَثَلُ الَّذِي يَذْكُرُ رَبَّهُ وَالَّذِي لَا يَذْكُرُ رَبَّهُ كَمَثَلِ الْحَيِّ وَالْمَيِّتِ. Those who remember God, the similitude of those who remember God and those who don't remember God is like the living and the dead. Because God is most powerful, God is the most existent. Everywhere you can see actually the sign of God. So you'll be exhausted actually to think about God. God is like light. You see, if you are looking at the light, what happened to your eye? What happened to your eye? So that's why this is actually the highest level of iman. This is called ihsan. Ihsan is anta'budallah ka'annaka tarahu. Fa'ilam takun tarahu fa'innahu yarah. Ka'annaka tarahu, as if you see him. Why? Because if you really see him, khalas, you will not exist. It means that when you see him, you will forget yourself. So the Prophet ﷺ urged us, when we do ibadah, we see Allah as if we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It means that we should forget ourselves. Of course, this is the level of ihsan. If we cannot reach that, fa'illam takun tarahu fa'innahu yaraka. You should understand that he is seeing you. It's not from afar. Like there is a song, seeing you from afar. No. God is very close to us. Anyway, so this is one aspect. Because the time, for the sake of the time, I just shorten it, about God. The second one is the nature of revelations. Revelation is a communication between God and human being. There is a communication between God and man. In our worldview, there is a communication between God and man. But of course, not every human being can communicate with God. Only particular type of human being. Who are they? The prophet. Even philosophers cannot communicate with God, let alone scientists. Only the prophets can communicate with God. Why? Because the constitutions, the psychological and physical constitution of the prophet. Why? Because human beings are not the same. Do you think human beings are the same? No. Human beings are not the same. Some are prophets, of course. And the prophet is the highest level of human being. The perfect human being. Prophets. Al-Anbiya wal-Mursalin. So the prophet can communicate with God. We cannot communicate with God. Because our constitution is not enough to have, our capacity is not enough. It's like the blind and the, what is the opposite of the blind? Not blind. The one who can see, the one who can see, like the blind and the one who can see. So there is a revelation. Now the final revelation is the Quran. Now we have to understand the Quran. Of course, God revealed himself and his message to the earlier prophets. But God finally revealed, okay, his message to the final prophet in the form of the Quran. So we have to understand the nature of the Quran. We say that Quran is kalamullah. You see? Yeah? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mutakallim. Yeah, wa kallamallahu Musa taklima. And the Quran is kalamullah. How do you defend, okay, this term that Quran is kalamullah? We need to defend. Because last time, this happened, you see, during the time of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Yeah, when the Khalifah Al-Ma'mun was influenced by the thinking of the Mu'tazilah. They say, no, Quran is muhdas. Quran is something new. Quran is makhluk. Quran is created. But Imam Ahmad say, no, Quran is not created. You see, we have to understand, okay, this thing. Yeah? Quran is kalamullah. Yeah? Quran is kalamullah. And before Imam Ahmad, there was a student of Imam Ash-Shafi'i, yeah, by the name of, I think, Imam Al-Buwaiti. Yeah, Imam Al-Buwaiti was murdered and killed because he said that Quran is kalamullah. Imam Ahmad was only tortured, right? But he was survived. But Imam Buwaiti was jailed, yeah, by the Mu'tazili, and he died in the prison. Yeah, before Imam Ahmad. Yeah, because Imam Buwaiti is a student of Imam Ash-Shafi'i. Why? Because this is a very serious issue. The Quran, we need to understand the history of the Quran, how the Quran, for example, yeah, made into book nowadays. Yeah. Again, we have to restudy of this. There is a revelation. Yeah, there is a communications, yeah, between God and human being. Okay. And then the nature of the creations. The third one is the nature of the creations. This alam. You know, what is the meaning of this alam? You know, we call it alam. But alam is not one. Alams are structured. That's why we have cosmology. Yeah, the structure of the alam, the structure of the universe. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Rabbul Alamin. Alamin is a plural, right? Meaning there are many alam. There are many universe. Now people are talking about multiverse, right? Yeah, about multiverse. Not universe, but multiverse. Universe means one, right? But multiverse, multitude. Yeah. But their multiverse is still physical. But our universe is not physical, including the metaphysical alam. Yeah, alam is ma siwa Allah. Other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alam. Okay? And alam, you know, from the word alam, you have the word alamat. You know alamat? Address, right? So it means that this alam must be pointing, because this alam must give us an address. This alam is basically addressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you don't see the address of this alam, we have a problem in our worldview. So we have to see, you know, that this alam is having an address. This alam is ayah. Yeah, the sign. Yeah. So the nature of the creations. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as I told you earlier, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is creating, okay, this alam every time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always say kun. Innama amru idha arada syai'an an yaqula lahu kun fayakun. Kun is fi'lu amrin, fayakun fi'il mudhari, means there is a continuity. And this continuity is actually discontinuous. So the nature of alam is, yeah, discontinuous continuity. Yeah. Why? Because its continuity is done by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So we have to understand, okay, alam in that view. All right. And then the nature of man and the psychology of human soul. We are talking about ourselves. Who are we? Who are we? Yeah? Have we ever pondered about ourselves? Who are we? From where actually we are? And to where actually we go? So the issue of identity and the issue of destiny. These are two very important issues. Issue of identity, who we are. Yeah? Who we are. Yeah? And where are going to. Where we are heading to. Do you think when we die, khalas? Yeah? We become part of the clay, part of the earth, khalas? No. In our worldview, no. Our life is very short. But before that, we have also a life. And after that, we'll be living. So this is we are actually insan. So the term, okay, for man in the Quran is insan. Of course, you have two terms, bashar and insan. Basharun and insanun. Bashar is just biological aspect of man, and also sociological aspect of man. This is bashar. But insan, is not only bashar. Insan is including the spirit, including the nafs. So that's why we are basically double in nature. We have physical, but we have also spiritual. We have ruh also in ourselves. And this is a combination of the two. And even within our ruh, we have two levels of ruh, two levels of nafs, two levels of soul. One is called nafsul natiqah, another one is nafsul hayawaniyah. So we have to go back to our understanding of the soul, according to our scholars. And the soul is the seat of the knowledge. That's why after this we'll connect the knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is arrival of meaning to the soul and arrival soul to the meaning. So our soul will receive the meaning. That is knowledge. That constitutes knowledge. And our soul also run toward the meaning. So it's very connected, okay? This soul with knowledge. And when we die, you see before that, why soul is more important than the body? Although both are very important, but why soul is more important than the body? Number one, at least there are 5 reasons. Why the soul is more important than our body. Although the body is important, but if you put the weightage, the soul is much more important. Number one, soul exists before the body exists. Yes, our soul existed before our body. That's why, we had made the covenant with God, right? When Allah asked us, Alastu bi rabbikum? Qalu bala syahidna. And the Prophet used to say, Al-arwahu junudun mujannada. Fama ta'arafa minha i'talafa. Wama tanakara minha ikhtalafa. Al-arwah junudun mujannada. The spirits are like recruited armies. Junudun mujannada. Fama ta'arafa minha i'talafa. Those who know each other at that time, they will unite again here. And those who do not know at that time, Yeah, ikhtalafa, they will quarrel here. So that's why people have groups. So it shows also the existence of the soul, pre-existence of the soul before our body. So this is number one. The soul exists before our body. Number two, when we are alive, the soul is the one which governs our body. Yes, the soul is the one which makes our hand moves. The soul is the one which makes our eyes see. The soul is the one which makes our brain think. The soul. So the soul is like the one controlling our body. All right. This is number three. Number two. Yeah, the controller is more important than the one being controlled. Number three. When we die, our body which die, our soul will not die. Our soul will just migrate from this world to alam barzakh. Yeah. Allah SWT says, "Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut." Every soul will taste the death. Allah SWT doesn't say that our soul will die. No. Dha'iqatul maut. Our soul will taste the death. How testing the death? How to taste the death? To taste the separation between the soul and the body. Taste that. We will experience our separations. We will experience the death. It means that we will experience the separation between our body and our soul. And nowadays, there are a lot of studies regarding the NDE, right? You know NDE? Near-death experience. Yeah. There are a lot of records. There are a lot. It's very scientific now. That's been proven by science. Yeah. Those people who are in coma, for example, and doctor is already declared that this body is dead clinically. And then after some time, he is alive. Yeah. After some time, he is alive. And then he can tell what is happening actually in the operation room. Some people are weeping, for example, some people are doing medical operations. And this person can tell everything. He is conscious. So consciousness is not in the brain. Consciousness is not local. Where is your soul? Is your soul inside your body? No. Soul and body is like hardware and software to make it. You have the handphone, right? Yeah. Where is the, you see, if you open your handphone, everything is here, right? Is it in the handphone or somewhere else? You see? So that's why we have to think about the relationship between our body and our soul. Yeah. So that's why the nature of human soul is very important to think again. Yeah, to think ourselves. All right. For the sake of the time, I want to skip this thing because this is a long discussion about mind body problem. Okay, they call it nowadays mind body problem, right? About the dualism of mind and body. Anyway, this is one of the worldview of Islam. And then the nature of knowledge. Yes, the epistemology. Now, nowadays, they are limiting the knowledge only to the scientific knowledge. If the knowledge is not scientific, it is not knowledge. No, from our worldview, yeah, we don't buy, we don't adopt, okay, this worldview. This is a secular worldview. Yeah, if you are only limiting knowledge only to science, yeah, to scientific methodology, yeah, you are confining, okay, knowledge only to, you know, to this phenomena. No, knowledge is more than that. The sources of knowledge is God. So one of the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Alim, right? He is the source of the knowledge. He is imparting knowledge to us. All right. So knowledge is not acquired only through the, yeah, through the this what you call it, yeah, empirical sources. So that's why we have empirical sources, we have rational sources, and we have what we call the true reports. Yeah, the khabar sadiq. Okay. So I think in Wasatiyatul Islam, I've already touched, okay, this issue, right? You still remember. Yeah. We have true reports. If I ask you, how do you know that the color of this wall is white?
We see it.
Yeah, you see it. Very clear, right? This is an empirical source. We don't debate colors. Yeah. The color of this wall is white, right? Accepted, right? Agreed, right? But there is another epistemology who deny this. This is called sophism. They say, no, this is not right. This is not white. This white, this is white, and this looks like white because of the light, they say. So if the light is changed, then this is not white anymore. Then what is the color? We don't know. You see, now you start confused. Is it? This is epistemology. But we affirm, okay, the epistemology of empirical evidence. We affirm. But we put this in its own place. Yeah, because empirical evidence has its weakness. And this weakness will be complemented by higher source of knowledge, which is reason. If I ask you, do you see the star during the night?
Yes.
The star big or small?
It's
How
small.
do you know?
Small.
Use your sign. You say that, how do you see, okay, this, why you say that this wall is white? I see it. Now I ask you, the star is big or small?
Small.
Huh?
Small.
You have a song. Little, what?
Obviously it's small.
Iya, bintang kecil di langit yang tinggi. Bintang kecil. Yeah. Oh, little star. How is in English? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are. Little star, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you know that the star is not little? How do you know that star is not little? Have you been there?
No.
To say that the star is little? No, you haven't been there. But we know for sure that star is not little. From where do you know? How do you conclude that the star is not little? From your reason. From your sound reason. Right? Oh, 15 menit lagi. Okay, so we have rational source. We have empirical source. We have rational source. And we have the true report. Now my question is, do you know there is a life after death?
Yes.
From where? From where do you claim that there is a life after death?
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced that? Life again? What are your reasons? theory that the power can help. There is only a possibility. Not necessity. It's not impossibility. Just possible. There is a possibility. There is a probability of the rest. So I don't use probability to judge whether there is a life or death. You will be regret. When you die and there is a life, you'll be regretful. Now, in this possibility, in this skepticism, the Prophet tells us, confirm there is life after death. Better believe it. And not only better believe it, and better taste it, experience it, there is life after death. And we can verify this, through your intuitions, through your experience. There is a life after death. So we know that there is life after death from the Prophet's report, from the prophetic report. If you don't believe, just wait. You'll be regret. All right. So these are sources of knowledge from the worldview of Islam. Now, if you are relying only on the empirical sources and rational sources, yes, you are scientific, but you are secular. But we add one more source, which is the true report from the Prophet. Now, if you combine together, this is called ilmiah. So there is a difference between scientific and ilmiah. In Bahasa Indonesia, normally we say scientific is ilmiah, right? Ilmiah is scientific. No, scientific is only reason and empirical evidence. This is scientific. But if you combine the three, this is ilmiah. So that's why when we argue with the true report, with the Quran, with the Hadith, it is ilmiah, although not scientific. You see? This is knowledge, I don't want to prolong, actually. I want to discuss this thing, okay, for the whole day. We can discuss about knowledge for the whole day, And then the nature of religion. Again, this nature of religion are confused. Why? Because Western civilization put religion as part of culture. In the Islamic worldview, in the world of Islam, no, religion is the highest. There are 4 big civilizations, throughout the history. The first one is the Mesopotamia, whose focal point is culture. And then Greek civilization, whose focal point is philosophy. And then Islamic civilizations, whose focal point is religion. And then Western civilization nowadays, whose focal point is science. Now, under the Western civilization, science has been divided into 2, social science and natural science. The social science will create culture, and under the culture, you put religion there. So religion is part of the culture. But from our worldview, no. Religion is not part of the culture. But religion is part of our nature. Why? Because we have religion already in the alam ruh. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us, alastu bi rabbikum? Qalu bala shahidna. So we have already that kind of relationship with God. So our nature of religion is starting from there, not from this culture. Okay? And you see, there is, the term for religion is ad-din, right? And this word din has connection with the word ad-dain. What is ad-dain? Debt, yes, hutang. Our religion is related to the concept of debt. Why? Because we are indebted to God for our existence. So we are indebted to God for our existence. Do you think you are creating yourself? No, right? We know that we are being created, right? Who created us? God. Your mother does not create you. because she is created, not she is created, okay, she is born from her mother, right? So we are basically created by God. Because creation is the highest gift from us, from God, we are actually indebted to God. If we are indebted to somebody, what will you do? We'll be thankful to him, right? If somebody, for example, save you, okay, from the drone in the river, for example, are you not feeling indebted to that person? Yes, of course. We are indebted to that person. Now God gives us existence. We are indebted to God for our existence. The whole of our existence is basically debt. Yeah. Now, how to return the debt? You have to pay the debt, right? Don't ngemplang the debt. Yeah. We have to pay the debt. How do you pay? Okay, the debt. If your life itself is the debt itself. If your life is the debt itself, the only way to pay the debt is by returning back ourselves. Yes, you return yourself. You return yourself, it means that istislam. Aslama, surrender back to God. Having Islam, having istislam. That's why inna dina indallahi Islam. Again, I want to discuss this thing for a day. Yeah, it's not enough only for 5 minutes. Yeah, because this is very important. Yeah, to understand again the nature of religion. Yeah, our religion. Yeah, but for the sake of the time, and then the nature of freedom. We say the freedom is, in our conception, the freedom is al-ikhtiyar. Ikhtiyar is derived from the word khair. Khair means good. So ikhtiyar is basically to choose for good or for the better. Yeah, this is actually a freedom. When you choose the good one and the better one, then you are exercising your freedom. But if you choose the bad one, you are not free actually. You are ignorant. Yeah. Only when you choose for the better, for the good, only then you are exercising the freedom. This is the conception of freedom. Freedom doesn't mean that you are free to do anything. No, no. From the worldview of Islam, freedom is only to do the good thing. Only to do the better thing. Yeah, not anything. No, it's not freedom. If you know that this is medicine, this is poison. You choose poison. Do you think it's freedom? No, it's not freedom. It is ignorant. Yeah. So freedom is related to the word. Yeah, ikhtiyar means something. Yeah, something good. Yeah, you choose for the. Yeah. And then values. Yeah, this is akhlaq. Yeah. Of course, good and bad. Yeah, good and bad. Okay, husn and qubah. Yeah, we have values. We have virtue. Yeah, we have what we call the virtue. Yeah. So 5 menit lagi. Okay, no problem. Yeah. So again, this is related to the ethics. Yeah. One of the characteristics of secularism is deconsecration of values. There are 3 characteristics of secularism. One is disenchantment of nature, desacralization of politics, and then deconsecration of values. So it means that the value is not sacred anymore. The value is changing. Yeah, there is no permanent value. Now, in our worldview, the value, the haq, the right, and the wrong has its own place. Yeah, unchanging. And finally, because it's 5 minutes more, the nature of happiness. We call it sa'adah. Now, sa'ada is not feeling happy, or you feel your mood is happy now. Yeah, this morning you are happy, this evening you are sad. Yeah, you are moody. No, no, no. This is not happiness. Happiness is something permanent. Yeah, and it is related to the iman. Okay, but mu'min can be sad, of course. Yeah, it doesn't mean that mu'min are not sad. No, mu'min can be sorrow, can be sad. Yeah, but his iman, yeah, his iman is fixed, right? It will not be affected, okay, by the soul. You see our brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Gaza, for example, they are actually happy. Their happiness, their sa'ada is still, despite of all this suffering, you see, they are still believe in God. They are still praying. They are not complaining of their life. They are still content, okay, with the life. This is happiness. This is sa'ada. Yeah, even though your life is yeah, a lot of problem, but you are patient. Yeah, you are patient. Yeah, you are forbearing. You have sa'ada, you have iman. Yeah, so sa'ada is not related to only feeling. No, it's something deeper. Yeah, to ourselves. Yeah, this is our concept of sa'ada. Yeah, our worldview of sa'ada. Okay, so as a conclusion, yeah, from the perspective of Islam, a worldview is not merely the mind's view of the physical world and of man's historical, social, political, and cultural involvement in it, as reflected, for example, in the current Arabic expression, yeah, the idea formulated, okay, by Nazratul Islam lil Kaun. No, this is not Nazratul Islam lil Kaun. It's not Islamic perspective on this physical world, but our worldview, basically comprehends also the metaphysical world. It is incorrect, yeah, to refer to the value of Islam as Nazratul Islam lil Kauni. This is because unlike what is conveyed by Nazrah, okay, the value of Islam is not based upon philosophical speculation formulated mainly from observation of the data, of sensible experience, and of what visible to the eye, nor is it restricted to kaun, which is the world, yeah, of sensible experience, yeah, the world of created things. Al-kaun is basically this, yeah, the physical world, yeah, from the kun of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Innama amruhu idha arada syai'an an yaqula lahu kun fayakun. This is actually al-kaun. But the value of Islam is not about only al-kaun. All right, because time is out, yeah, I hope I can give kind of Prolegomena, okay, to the worldview of Islam. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we move to the question and answer session, but we only accept only one question. Please introduce the name because it happens. Who want it?
Thomas and Shani, I'm very good for the applications. It's quite interesting for me what Worldview Islam is one of the prominent Muslim thinkers that we discussed when it was the Prolegomena. So we really this authority of education, we choose that rather than we on others. I'm finished with that. The second one about science, the Islamization of science or science
Knowledge, Islamization of knowledge.
Islamization of knowledge is quite a debatable because other Muslim thinkers also think that it doesn't necessarily because science is nature. Okay, if we're talking about one and one, two, it's nature, but when we categorize what is knowledge and what is not, it's not nature at all. We go to the Western paradigm. But one of other Muslim thinkers, good point, that he wondered if we during science conversations or conversation of knowledge, it will fall into sacred science, in which sacred and science is two contradictions that science can be developed, but when it becomes sacred, it will be fixed. So science lost its nature. So I want to know your position in it and your opinion about it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, this is again. We need to discuss this one thoroughly, yeah, because the term is Islamization of knowledge. It's not Islamization of science. Yeah, the correct term is Islamization of knowledge. Knowledge is much wider than science. Science is only a particular branch of knowledge, right? Do we agree or not? Yeah. First, we have to agree first whether science is equivalent to knowledge, or knowledge is equivalent to science. Can we reduce knowledge to science? Yeah, so we agree that science is part of knowledge. So in this case, knowledge is much wider. Okay, science is specific knowledge. Why? Because the methodology, science later on has its own philosophy. It depends on whose philosophy you are talking about. Are you talking about Popper, Karl Popper, in which he said that science must be falsifiable? Yeah, if science cannot be falsified, it is not science. This is according to Karl Popper. But according to Thomas Kuhn, science must change due to the change of the paradigm. Okay? But according to Imre Lakatos, no, it's not necessarily. Science, yeah, anything which has a scientific research program, SRP is a science. But according to another one is Feyerabend, no. And anything can be science. So his term is anything goes. Yeah. So again, when you define science, there are a lot of definition of science. There are a lot of, yeah. Anyway, Professor Alata's project is Islamization of knowledge. Number one, when we say Islamization of knowledge, we are not referring to a discipline. Okay, we are not referring to a particular discipline like economics, psychology. These are disciplines. But we are talking about knowledge in general, generic knowledge, at the level of epistemology. So in other words, it's like Islamization of epistemology. That is basically one of the meaning of the Islamization of knowledge. Yeah. Only then later on we deal with the sciences with three approaches. Number one is what we call the negations, or in Professor Alata's term, de-westernization of knowledge. You see, our knowledge has been imbued with the Western worldview. What are the elements of the Western worldview? Secularism, rationalism, dualism. What else? Tragedy, yeah, and humanism. These are the elements of Western thought. You see, we are not aware that in our discipline there is an element of secularism. There is an element of rationalism. There is an element of humanism. Yeah, there is an element of dualism. There is an element of tragedy sometimes. So we have to take out, this is what I mean, de-westernization. The Nafi. Yeah, like La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. These are not knowledge actually. Yeah. Why? Because the test of true knowledge, yeah, is when you know yourself, your identity, and your destiny. If you receive this knowledge, but you still do not know your identity and you do not know your destiny, this is not knowledge. This is pseudo knowledge. You see? So the first one is de-westernizations. The second one is what we call the integrations. Something beneficial, something hikmah, then we accept it. Prophet used to say, al-hikmatu dhalatul mu'min, anna wajadaha fahuwa ahaqqun nasi biha. The wisdom is the lost property of the mu'min. Anywhere you find it, yeah, you deserve, okay, to take it back. And the third one is what I call the value additions. This is basically we are using our resources, our past experience, yeah, to contribute to the present contemporary knowledge. For example, in Islamic economics, you are introducing new thing which is not there in the conventional economics. For example, in sukuk, for example, sukuk is a new Islamic financial instrument which is not there in the conventional finance. Because in the conventional finance, you have only equity instrument and debt instrument, which is different, okay, from sukuk. So this is something new we are reintroducing. This is what we call the value addition. So first you have the worldview at the epistemological level and at the philosophical level. And then you have the operation using the three methodology. I have written already this paper. Yeah, using negation, integration, and value addition. This is actually the project of what we call Islamization of knowledge. In brief, yeah, because I can talk again, this is for a full day, yeah. But in brief, yeah, that is basically the essence. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Paul, for that illuminating and insightful presentation and the responses. We now have, okay, please move forward to have a group photo session. Then there is date and water outside, you can pick it. Then we move to the master. Our MC.
Yeah. By the way, before we close, we still have 3 or 4 series, yeah, of this, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Inshallah, after the Eid, inshallah, yeah. Inshallah, yeah. With more or less the same topic, the serious topic, yeah, interrelated, okay, with our discussion today. Thank you. Yeah.
One closing statement.
My closing, yes. So in order to understand this, you have to be patient, yeah, little by little, tadarruj, yeah, but consistent, inshallah. And I hope with the effort of ESA, yeah, by introducing this to our community here, we can learn something, yeah, we can learn something, we can share something, yeah, and it is inshallah beneficial for Muslim, yeah. That is for me. Thank you very much, Brother Wildan, yeah, and Brother Albi, yeah, for organizing, okay, this very important discussion. Aqulu qouli hadza wa astaghfirullahaladzim li wa lakum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, since the session is already over, we can move to Masjid Ramadan Al-Alamin and you can. Oh, take a photo. Oh, okay. From here? Oh, so people are coming here. Okay. So kalau yang bisa ke depan kita mau dulu. We are taking photo together and then after that